Detroit media icon Ryan Ermanni, University of Michigan great Braylon Edwards, and of course, Maz are about to take over on Woodward Sports. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m., it's the best Detroit sports talk on Detroit's best sports network. Woodward Sports.
Ridiculous. I look ridiculous. But
you know what? You tried.
Hey, let's go. That's right. Monday show, September 30th, 2024. Ermanni and Edwards Mets, Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. If you're watching on YouTube, we say welcome to you. Hit that like button. Subscribe to Woodward Sports on YouTube. Braylon Edwards, good afternoon to you. Big day around these parts.
Yes, it is. Look, I know everybody's out there going to be tripping like, oh, my God, he's wearing Jets. It's Lions Day, blah, blah, blah. Your team stinks. They lost to the Denver Broncos. All those things are true, but I had an interview to do at SNY, so I rocked the Jet green and white, not Michigan State. But I'm wearing the Lions around my neck, so you guys know I'm true to the Lions season. I am a fan of the Lions. So I say to you, Tom Mazaway, good day, brother.
Oh, what a day. What a great time to be a sports fan here in Detroit. Everything is doing great. We're in fall right now. If the humidity goes away, it would be perfect. But baseball's in full swing, and we got black tie Monday Night Football tonight against the Seahawks at Ford Field. I cannot wait to be there and enjoy the ambiance and bring home a win, because the Lions are going to win tonight, guys.
Hey, Maz, before we and let me say hi to Noah, who's filling in. Appreciate you today, brother.
Shout out.
On that. P. Spivak, always good to see you. Got some winners this past weekend, and we got some bets for you. We'll come up to that a little bit later. But, Maz, I got a bone to pick. And it's not with you. It's with the older community.
Oh, okay.
So I work out the YMCA as well as Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential, as you see right here. But sometimes I work at the YMCA, hence...
we know that.
100%.
You're a hero.
At least I thought I was.
Yeah.
Man, so I park out in the very back of the Y, okay? I park out in the back. I stay out of the way. That way, a lot of the older individuals, Ryan, they can come in. They can park close. I stay out the way. I park in the back of the parking lot. Well, today when I come in, I get tired of parking in the space because the tree is now overhanging on the close spot.
You don't want that tree overhanging.
I drive a truck. It's a big truck. When I close my door, sometimes the branches get stuck in the car. So I took 2 spaces. Oh, my God. I didn't know it was going to be an issue. Man, as I came back to my car after the workout.
You didn't have a sign on there, did you?
3 notes.
Oh.
3 notes?
3 separate notes.
Wow.
3 separate notes. One was
nobody was even close to you? Was the parking lot full?
No, and it was not full at this time. That's why one, don't you know I'm the Dark Knight as it relates to YMCA? You got to cut me some slack. I'm out here, out here defending the Y from all these would-be assailants. But anyway, 3 notes, and it said, hey, 2 spots, funny face. Then it was like, well, sir, would you like to take 1 spot, not 2? And I think the last one said, you got to do better in life. Over a parking spot?
Wow.
Wait.
And this is the thing about it.
You got tripled up.
How many? Wait a minute here. I'm so intrigued by this.
The Y has a huge parking lot. So when you come in, there's a front part that has about 22 spaces.
Okay.
Then there's a middle part, which is right by where the entrance is. They have the handicap parking spots. They have some in the back. It's about another 50 spaces. And then they have the other side, which is the opposite of where I park, have another side where the buses are. It's probably 70 spots over there, okay?
And that's where you parked?
Not today. I parked in the other spot that is equally as far.
Kind of like the mid.
Yeah, it's equally as far, right? And three different notes. This is my thing. If you write a note, you know what this tells me? It tells me you got up to the spot, didn't like the parking situation, so you told yourself, you know what, I'm going to write a note. You had to go to your car,
decide,
then write the note, then walk all the way back to my car, then walk all the way back into the Y.
Don't blame us old folks. It might have been young kids.
No young kids work. No young kids work at the Y that are driving.
No young kids doing that, man.
Yeah, no young kids.
You're right.
A chance.
You're right.
At the end of the day, relax. Sometimes I think sometimes people want to say too much. They want to have an opinion about all these things. To be honest, that's kind of why I got into the situation at the Y Maz in the first place. I don't want to blame the guy for another guy doing something he shouldn't have done, but sometimes mind your business. You don't have to have something to say about everything, especially a parking spot that is at the back of the YMCA. So I started
in a non-crowded parking lot.
It wasn't crowded.
That's the thing. If nobody's fighting for the other spot, you just woke up and chose violence.
You just wasted 112 steps on your Fitbit watch walk into my car to place a note.
Man.
You know what? I just
leave my car alone. Leave your note out my mouth.
Well, we're sorry, Bray. I'd like to speak up for the elderly and say we are sorry that we did that.
I thought they were my people. You know,
they didn't know, obviously.
This is true.
They didn't know.
I'm gonna take a step back.
You need to get a personalized plate.
I do, but they got me in trouble in New York, so I'm gonna stop doing that. But
Go Blue 1.
This is true. Last thing I will say, Ryan, it was amazing to turn on ESPN today. And I'm watching ESPN. I'm not thinking anything of it on the ESPN level, more so when we come in Woodward Sports and do our show. And for the first time in 10 years, they had a Tigers promo in the playoffs, and I was just blown away. So I was, wow, here we are.
Pretty incredible and pretty rare that we'd come in here on a Monday in September, nearly October, and talk about anything other than the Detroit Lions. We'll get to the Lions momentarily, but I think we have to start with the baseball, and that's the Detroit Tigers. They do face those Houston Astros tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The Tigers are the third wild card after the weekend series. They win on Friday night. They did lose on Saturday and Sunday. Very predictable.
I think on purpose.
I don't know about on purpose or not, but you're just not going to play your guys.
Right.
And to be honest with you, it's the same scenario that's going to happen today, by the way. I don't know if anybody's paying attention to this, but the Mets and the Braves are playing right now, if you're watching this live.
Doubleheader.
If the Mets or the Astros, if either team sweeps... the Mets and Braves. If either team sweeps, then that team and Arizona are in. If there's a split in this doubleheader, both New York Mets and the Atlanta Braves are in. And I'm going to go ahead and guarantee a split already, because just like the Tigers scenario, once you clinch a spot, i.e., once the Mets or Braves win this game one, nobody's playing. Would you play any of your starters, any of your pitchers?
Will Vegas take that off the board?
I don't know. I mean,
because you're telling me it's a sure thing.
I'm telling you it's a sure thing. I mean, you might want. How do you play it now?
Mets are losing 2-0 right now. Right. If they lose this game, you're telling me I could bet the Mets in the next game and be guaranteed a win.
I think you could. Because Severino's going to take the mound. Or, if the Mets win, then Sale gets the ball.
Right.
And Severino's not going to play.
Now, last night, San Diego had a chance to knock one of these teams out completely and send the Mets in. Instead, they lose on purpose to Arizona, so the Mets and Braves have to play a doubleheader today and waste their frontline starters, because the Braves are going to San Diego if they win, and the Mets are going to go to face the Milwaukee Brewers. So both those teams are sitting back waiting. Meanwhile, if you're an Arizona fan, you went to the World Series last year, you went 7 games, and you lost to the Texas Rangers. You're sitting there praying that someone sweeps today.
And this is a scenario, Bray, in which last year's World Series teams, both of them, probably won't get in. We all know that the Texas Rangers, the World Series champs, are not in. And if there is a split today, which I anticipate anyway, Arizona's not getting in. So you'll have a new American League champion and a new National League champion. But this baseball situation has been tremendous, specifically over the last month, if you've paid attention to it. You got essentially playoff baseball today.
Yeah, 100%. One of the biggest things about the Tigers and the Lions having success and the city being able to revel in the success of 2 teams making the playoffs, I wasn't able to enjoy this match back when it was happening in 2013 and 12 and 11 in terms of what the Tigers were doing, because I was still playing in the NFL. But to be able to be in it now, to be an analyst, back in the city, really, back into my roots as a Lions fan, as a Tigers fan, man, it's fun. City is on fire, man, and get a chance to see the Tigers get into that postseason after the season they pulled off in the last 2 months. It's going to be fun, man, and it doesn't stop there. That's my thought process.
No doubt about
Tigers and Astros tomorrow, the return of A.J. Hinch to Houston, and we get the 2:30 slot on ABC television for all 3 games if you need the game on Thursday. And we're going to have our watch party. We're going to start you off at 2 o'clock tomorrow with our regular show and morph into a watch party for the next 3 days. So I hope you guys join us. We get to watch the Tigers. A lot of people not happy with that afternoon start. A lot of people have to work. They don't get the enjoyment of sitting down watching afternoon baseball. To me, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
I couldn't be happier about it.
To have 4 playoff series right after one another, 2:30, 4:30, 6:30, 8:30. It's like a dream. And you got the Lions tonight. It's it's going to be crazy tomorrow. Comerica's got a watch party tomorrow at the park itself. So if you wanted to get down there, and first 500 people get a free hot dog and a soda. Free Little Caesars and a soda.
Well, the National League, obviously, you've got games at 2:30, 4, 5:30, and 8:30. I mean, that's your slots. Obviously, the two National League cities are going to get the two late games. So basically, it's Tigers, Astros, Royals, Orioles. Which one are you going to start at 2:30? Which one are you going to start at 4? And I just think the Tigers and Astros are the slot. That's the team. So you want to put that on your network television.
That's it.
You put that on ABC, Detroit and Houston, the natural storyline between A.J. Hinch going back to be with an Astros team where he won a World Series championship with. It just is the natural fit. We only have pitchers for one game so far, so we don't know if Verlander will throw it all in this series.
He might be out of the bullpen. You don't know what they're going to do.
Exactly, because I would imagine St. Clair Shore's own Hunter Brown is going to
absolutely
get a look as well.
He was great out of the bullpen this year against the Tigers, so who knows?
Yeah,
that'll be good. Lakeview's own, right?
Lakeview's own. Why not the Tigers? I mean, I do think it's important to play your best baseball. Obviously, at the end of the season, you have these teams fighting to get in. I just think, Braylon, this is a team that I would not count against. If you have to win 2 of 3 games and you've got Scooble going in game 1, it's obviously got to be a win tomorrow. Tomorrow's the series. If you lose tomorrow, series over. If you win tomorrow, man, I think you might as well be booking a trip to Cleveland.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's any reason why. We talked about this and what the American League was, and when the postseason hits, if we made it, well, we did make it. We're in, and we're playing against the Astros. I think it's a team that Maz told us we wanted. You wanted the Astros.
I wanted the Orioles.
I wanted the Astros.
Correct.
I wanted the Orioles.
Astros. You wanted the Orioles.
I don't want nothing to do with Cleveland and Houston.
I like the Astros from the sense of it's everything lining up. It's the Tigers making it for the first time in 10 years, and when they make it, who do they play? They play the Houston Astros, A.J. Hinch's former team, Justin Verlander's on the opposite side. The year that Tarek Skubal had, last time this type of year was had, Mass, who had it? It was Justin Verlander. So I just think the storyline for how this season has been, it's been a storied season, one of only 2 seasons like this to ever happen. I think this is another part of the story. It's the Houston Astros. This is how A.J. Hinch gets over, and then this is how Tarek Skubal kind of. Yeah, I'm excited. 9
straight American League Championship Series for Houston.
7, I thought.
Straight. Is it 7? I thought it was
either way. I think it's 7, but nonetheless,
it's a lot.
It's a lot in a row. That's for sure, Maz. And that goes back to the experience. What does experience mean anymore? Because I'll tell you this much: I would almost rather these guys go in there. Who's their oldest position player? 28 years old? Matt Vierling?
Yep.
He's the oldest guy. Yeah. He's got any playoff experience whatsoever. What do you always say? The quote from Rocky: They don't think it's a damn show. They think it's a damn fight.
Yep, exactly.
Exactly. And this is a fight.
100%. But you talk about experience. Experience needs to be had, but I don't think it needs to be had by the players. Your manager is the experience. A.J. Hinch has been in this position multiple times, so I think he's the one with the experience, hence what his team is doing this year. So you're right. It doesn't matter in the sense of the players, but I think it matters from a manager's perspective, and A.J. Hinch is a vetted World Series winner. So I think there's all experience that you need.
It's going to be so exciting, man.
I just look at some of the guys. I'm just looking at some of the ages of these guys, and I'll go to the position players. Named Jace Young, 23, Colt Keith, 23, Trey Sweeney, 24, Spencer Torkelson, 25, Riley Green, 24, Justin Henry Malloy, 24, Parker Meadows, 24, Wenzel Perez, 24, Kerry Carpenter, 27, Matt Vierling, 28. I mean, this is incredible what we're experiencing.
Jake Rogers, I think, is probably the eldest.
Jake Rogers is 29 years old.
He's the eldest.
As the catcher.
And I like Jake, man. He's been great behind the plate this year, hitting just enough. It's great to have him and then Dylan Dingler right behind him, just in case.
Even if you do look at the Tigers have one position player in his 30s and one pitcher in his 30s. Andy Ibanez is 31 years old. And
he's playing his best baseball.
And Kenta Maeda is 36 years old.
He shouldn't touch a ball.
And everybody else is in their 20s. It is remarkable what A.J. Hinch has done with these guys this year, Chris Fetter and everything like that. Going to be pretty exciting. And again, we'll have the watch party here tomorrow. We'll talk a little Lions in the first 30 minutes of our show. We'll start the show at 2 o'clock as we normally would. Lions and Seattle Seahawks conversation from 2 to about 2:30, and then of course we'll get into the watch party at 2:30 and just to watch playoff baseball in Detroit. I don't remember baseball being on ABC ever. Maybe I just haven't paid attention lately.
It's the parent company of ESPN.
Michael Kay will get the.
We got the worst draw.
If you look at the announcers, I don't have the announcers up in front of me right now.
Sean McDonough gets the second game. Orioles.
Okay,
wish we had him.
Sean McDonough is very good in baseball, but I mean, John Shambi, fine. He's good. He does the Cubs games.
He's terrific.
Carl Ravitch is not very good. He's doing
terrible.
one of this series as well.
Thank God it switches to TBS soon.
I know.
We'll get Brian Anderson.
We hope the Tigers can do that. But anyway, guys, Tigers and
why
Astros
use Joe
tomorrow.
Buck, right? Why use him?
Yeah, we don't have to use Joe Buck.
You don't want to use Joe Buck.
No, I don't want to.
Just keep him in. Just let him do one game a week, I guess.
That's right. $25 million for that.
Yeah, that's all.
Meanwhile, Lions and Seattle Seahawks tonight, and they will be wearing their alternate uniforms, the black jerseys, the blue helmets. Here's what they had to say about being back in black tonight.
Now it's kind of like half-ass prime time game, so it's cool. We'll make it work.
You guys are also wearing the new black uniforms. I guess how excited are you for that? Have you tried it on? Have you seen how you looked in it? What do you think?
I have. I love them. Actually, it was one of the first ones to kind of see them when we did the photo shoot early in the year. I'm excited to wear them finally. You know, the all black that I wear will finally match our uniform, so it'll be nice.
That was Amon-Ra talking about he had one of the first looks at those black uniforms. And Braylon, Dan Campbell, when he played for the Lions, wore those black uniforms. He had told Rod Wood that he would like to bring the black uniforms back. Rod Wood told him, "You win a division and we'll talk about it." Well, both guys held up their end of the bargain. Dan Campbell won a division. Rod Wood brought the black jerseys back. We'll see him tonight.
You got to love that. And that goes back to what we always talk about in terms of the honesty between that franchise, between everybody involved right now, whether it's Rod Wood, whether it's Chris Philbin, whether it's Sheila Hunt, whether it's Dan Campbell. They're very honest, very transparent. With that being said, black is a thing, man. Like when they wore them back in the day, I thought they were cool. They just were getting their you-know-what's whooped. So then you go away from it. You know, it's like you used to say, it's synonymous with losing. You look back at those years, they wear those black jerseys, but I thought black is cool, and now they've done what they're supposed to. They won a division last year. Dan Campbell has done what he's supposed to as a head coach, so it's good to see him in these uniforms. You want something new. You want something sleek, you know, and last year they had the real breakout. They get to the NFC Championship. Now you got some black jerseys. Everybody that's winning this stuff, when they got something new, something edgy about them, why not the Detroit
This might be a dumb question, Bray, but when you flash new unis, do you feel like you
What? Man, I remember. And I guess I wasn't there when Seattle had the old ones, so I didn't wear the Matt Hasselbeck ones, and then get to the ones that everybody loves now, the blue ones. But when I got to Seattle, you know, I'm looking at that uniform, I'm laying it out, man. That uniform looked fresh. That uniform looked nice. It was sweet. Couldn't wait to put it on. I couldn't wait to see what combination was I going to put with it. What wristbands was I going to wear? What color gloves was I going to wear? How was I going to line the socks up with the cleats at that time? So you get super excited about wearing a new uniform, but at the end of the day, it's just a uniform. You still got to go out there and play.
I think the fans get more excited than anything. I mean, to wear that new helmet, that helmet is going to be a big seller when people see it tonight on Monday Night Football. The blue helmet, the shiny blue helmet with the black logo on it. Even the end zone's got a little black in them tonight. The end zone is looking good. I can't wait to see what they've got in store for us here. Hopefully, it's going to be a hell of a show. Last time Monday Night Football was here, we blew the Raiders out. So let's see if we can do the same thing.
And I hope it's going to be nice to see what the Lions have in store for Seattle. Look, this is a team that just has the Lions number. And I know it's now a new coaching staff and what have you, but It doesn't matter who the coach is, what decade it is. The Seattle Seahawks have traditionally owned the Detroit Lions. You're talking 6 straight wins, 9 of the last 10. You heard the stat, of course, the last Lions win was in 2012. Braylon was on that Seahawks team. Titus Young caught a 1-yard touchdown pass from Matthew Stafford to win it with under a minute to go in the game, and that's the last time the Lions had beaten the Seattle Seahawks. 9 losses in their last 10. Sometimes matchups, whatever the case may be, some guys just have your number. Somebody asked me today, what do you anticipate? Do you think the Lions are going to win tonight? And I say yes. If you just look at the games and the teams that are going to be on the field tonight, I think the Lions win this game, maybe even by double digits, to be honest with you. But in my head, I can't let history out of it. Like, history is always in there. And I don't want to say karma. Karma is not the right word, but you can't forget about that kind of history when one team owns another like that. I just can't get that out of my head. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to explain it.
It's not SOL, though.
No, it's not SOL. It's just some guys that just have your number.
Yeah, some guys just have your number. When I played for the Cleveland Browns, we couldn't beat the Steelers. I mean, that was some other teams too, but we couldn't beat them no matter how good of a game. As I'm talking about, every games I had 2 touchdowns. Josh Cribbs had a kickoff return for a touchdown. We have interceptions, fumble recoveries. Somehow or another, the Pittsburgh Steelers will find a way to win that game. But like you said, Maz, this is a different Lions. You look at last time they beat them, this was when the season started. The Lions were still kind of finding their footing on becoming this team that was going to go to the playoffs and end up going to the NFC Championship game. And then the year before, they were trying to find their footing again. You know, this was 2022. They lost to the Seattle Seahawks. They ended up making a run, but it was later in the year. I don't think Seattle, Ryan Ermanni, has seen this Detroit Lions, and not only that, they haven't seen Ford Field in the new way that it is, in terms of how loud it is, in terms of being kings of the North. It's a different feel in the atmosphere downtown Detroit than the last 2 times that Geno Smith and Seattle have come here.
Just remember, though, Seattle teams that beat the Lions had Pete Carroll on the sidelines. They have Mike McDonald now, who's doing real well. Nice young coach, former Michigan, of course. And last year, if you remember, CJGJ opened his mouth and said, with the villains, we're all going to wear ski masks, and that just didn't work out. And last year was a bloodbath for the Lions. They lost 3 players, mostly for the year, in that game. CJ was one of them. The other was Barnes. Derek Barnes was hurt till the end of the year, and there was someone else that got injured. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown got hurt in that game even. That was a bloodbath. Yeah, and they lost that game going to overtime. Never should have got to overtime. But it is what it is. I don't believe this Lion team forgets last year, and they will act revenge.
I think also, too, Maz, is last year the Lions were trying to convince themselves that they were this juggernaut. They were trying to convince themselves that they were this new team. So I think CJGJ taking the social media or adding the villains or, we're going to put the ski mask on, we're going all blue, this is who we are, show up. They were trying to be that team. They're that team now. They don't have to try. They don't have to make the noise. They don't have to do the distractions. And I think some of that trying to press and be the team and say those things, they got away from the game plan last year. Not talking about coaches, just talking about players. Players try to take it on themselves to do too much. This is a better team. I know the Seattle's having some success, but the Lions are a better team. They haven't talked about it. They haven't done the extra things. They haven't done the distractions. They're just going out on the field. And I think that's what you'll see tonight is a team that doesn't have to talk like they did last year. They'll just go out there, and I think their play on the field, it'll speak volumes.
Hey, Megatron's going to be there tonight. It's his night. You can't lose tonight.
Yeah, let me get to him in just a second, Maz. I do want to bring up this. How do you stop Geno Smith, who was absolutely tremendous last year? 32 of 41, 328 yards and 2 touchdowns. This guy has, I think, come in and surpassed all expectations that this franchise has had. I'm not sure anybody outside of Geno Smith and his family and Pete Carroll thought this guy was going to be anything. Here we are a couple of years later now, still the starting quarterback in Seattle. Yeah. They haven't moved away from him. He's come in and been that guy for them. He's been tremendous for them, and he has torched the Detroit Lions in the past.
This is how they've stayed ahead of the sticks. Geno Smith hasn't had any pressure. Ryan, there's been no pressure on Geno Smith because there hasn't had to be any pressure on Geno Smith. He's been able to allow it to be balanced. They can run when they want to. They could have passed when they wanted to in the last 2 times they played them. The Lions never put pressure on them. They never felt like they were behind. When teams get behind, when players get behind, such as a Geno Smith, then he has to press. Then he has to pass. Now he puts too much on himself. Now you see the Geno Smith that we saw before Seattle. Now you see a quarterback that is trying to figure it out, and it's not necessarily his game. When you allow things to be easy, hey, you know what? It's 2nd and 3. That's easy. When you spend the majority of the game in 2nd and 3, you don't allow the pass rush. You make things easy. Make it hard for them. Get them behind the sticks. Detroit Lions need to go out and score first, and then they need to get a 3 and out. That way you start to put the pressure. You start to let the noise of the stadium. That's what it is. Let that noise work for you. Get ahead of the count, and then Geno Smith, force him to be that guy. Because guess what? He ain't.
And Seattle's offensive line is banged up. They're injured. They're out. They're hurt. They're not good. This is an opportunity for the Detroit Lions defense to show up and really show out on Monday Night Football as well. You want to talk about getting the crowd involved, Braylon, an Aiden Hutchinson sack, a DJ Reader sack, and a Lee McNeil sack. That would go a long way into really getting into the head of Geno Smith and that Seattle offense. They're going to be having to be forced to be running around the field tonight, in my opinion.
When you allow a quarterback like Geno Smith, like when you give him time, I don't care what his past record was with the Chargers or with the Jets or the Giants or whatever stop he had. When you allow him to pass, he can see the field. He can be comfortable. He can look at read 1. He can look at read 2. Hell, he can even look at read 3. But when he has to look to the left and when he has to look to the right because he got pass rushers coming off those ends and he has to worry about those guys, now he can't focus in on reads 1, 2, and 3. Now he's like, shoot, if read 1's not there, now I got to go. And that's how you get the pressure on him. They got to get pressure on him early because the 2 times we played them, I repeat, he's just been back there making sandwiches, drinking Kool-Aid. He's been on iPod. He's trying to see what's going on X. He's checking what Ryan Ermanni is saying about him. Like, that's what it's been the last 2 years. Got to show me that new pass rush that we've seen so far out of the Detroit Lions and Aiden Hutchinson.
Hey, that's going to be tough to stop. DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Tyler Lockett.
On and on and on. And you got K9 in the backfield. That's a pretty good offense that they got rolling. And they're playing very well right now. Yeah. Mike McDonald's got them playing excellent. And they are 3-0. 3-0 for a reason. Lions have their work cut out for them. Again, they're not going to forget last year. They will make adjustments. And hopefully they'll get the W tonight. I think they will.
Yeah, they're 3-0, Maz, but they're 3-0 against the Denver Broncos, who we saw beat my New York Jets in the rain game yesterday. They beat the Broncos. This is game 1 for Bo Nix. I'm not counting that, and it was at home. They beat the Patriots. The Patriots, we've seen with the Jacoby Brissett.
They have to go to OT.
True. That bodes well for the Detroit Lions, and they beat the Dolphins without Tua Tagovailoa at home and a team that cannot get it together. So, yeah, they're 3-0, but it's a faulty 3-0, and I think the Detroit Lions are at 100%. Yeah. You got to give them respect. 3-0 in the NFL is 3-0. But let's look at the 3-0 that they have. It's not a stellar 3-0. It's kind of like a
good call.
And honestly, one thing the Lions can't do tonight is beat themselves. Last year in the game, 3 turnovers. Seattle didn't have any turnovers. And Seattle, by the way, did not allow a sack. And they scored a defensive touchdown. I mean, you can't have 3 more lopsided stats go against you than those 3. The turnovers, they lost. The defensive special teams touchdowns, they lost. The sacks, they lost. You can't do that and expect to win the game. And by the way, Seattle won that game in overtime despite all of that for the Detroit Lions.
Lions a 4-point favorite. It went up a half a point.
Yep.
That's still not a heavy favorite for being a home team and being a team that went to the NFC Championship. So Vegas expects this game to be close, and they're usually right on the money.
No doubt. All right, so guys, it's going to be a special honor for Calvin Johnson tonight. We're going to talk about him. You're hear what Dan Campbell has to say about him, and we'll go through some injuries as well, what to expect tonight. Brian Branch popped up on the injury report. It does not look like he's going to play. He's doubtful, but we'll talk about what impact that may have. All that and more coming up next. But first, a message from the Boys and Girls Club of Southeast Michigan.
Join the best youth football league in metropolitan Detroit, the Boys and Girls Club of Southeast Michigan's 3C Sports League. And I also was a member of that. The Boys and Girls Club, talking about back in the day. I love it. It's a chance to get these kids out of the house and get them playing some sports and being outside. Let's put youth back into youth sports. All coaches are trained, certified, and they do undergo background checks. So your kids are fine. They are in great hands. You see the teams up there. That's the teams we have. Look, it's all for the kids and an opportunity to play at Ford Field, to cheer at Ford Field, where we're talking about the Seattle Seahawks and the Detroit Lions tonight. That same field your kids can be on. All you got to do is go to bgcsm.org to register. Now it's time to get yourself a membership to Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential. You heard me. You see the guns. You see what time it is. Well, that's because I go to Planet Fitness, and they also have fitness that fits into your budget. We want everybody to be able to go to the gym at your own pace and at your own rate, and that's what they do. Over 50 locations in metropolitan Detroit. It's the best gym in the state. I love the color scheme as well. Judgment-free, squeaky clean gym, and memberships with every single membership that you can purchase. Look, this is the place for you, so show up. Your fitness is essential.
Can't get enough Lions coverage? Make sure you catch all Woodward sports shows every game day. Wake up with Woodward and Maine, giving you the latest insight into the Lions locker room and press conferences. Then join the Lions pregame show, highlighting key matchups, injuries, and what to watch for during the game. Follow all the ups and downs of the live game action with our Woodward Watch Party live on YouTube and woodwardsports.com. After the game, check out the instant fan and host reactions with the Lions postgame show. Every game, it's wall-to-wall, kneecap-biting, high-fiving, chest-pumping Lions coverage.
Hell yeah!
Only at Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports, let's go!
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supplies has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody!
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Proof that you can get just as strong at Planet Fitness. We're seeing if people can tell the difference between our 75-pound dumbbell and a 75-pound dumbbell from an overpriced competitor gym. Okay, the old flick test, that never fails.
There's literally no difference.
Plus, you can save $28 or more when you join today. Wow.
Why would I pay more to lift the same weights?
It's the Planet Fitness Strong Choice Sale. Save $28 or more. Join for $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends October 10th. Planet Fitness. Light price, strong choice.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network. Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog.
The team. You know, the organization, to be able to have him back in the fold and to be able to honor him, because he deserves that. He's earned that. And he's just, man, he's a hell of a dude.
Braylon Edwards, that's what Dan Campbell had to say about Calvin Johnson. As a wide receiver who played in this league, what made Calvin Johnson so great? He's going to be honored going into the Pride of the Lions. Tonight we were at his golf outing at Detroit Golf Club when it was announced. But what made him so great? Why was he that guy?
There's no game plan for Calvin Johnson. Like there's very few individuals, and they all end up in the hall, Ryan Ermanni, unless they don't play due to injury or circumstance. But there's no game plan for Calvin Johnson. No matter what the defensive coordinator would scheme throughout the week, or what he would tell the secondary, hey, this is what we're thinking. We're going to go too high. We're going to put a man over, press him at the line of scrimmage. We'll play cover 2 zone. We'll push him to the outside and keep him. No matter what you did, and we saw that in the Dallas game. How many guys are in that infamous picture, Maz? Are there 7 guys that he scores on the end zone? When you don't have a game plan for a guy, and a guy can just go out there and just still make plays, who are you keying on for 10 years in Detroit? You're keying on 81. And what did he do? Every year, year in and year out, he's going to get you 1,000. One year he'll get you 1,900. Here's 1,700. Wow. Here's 16 touchdowns. You want 11 touchdowns. How do you want it? You want it in the back of the end zone. You want it over the middle. Like Calvin did all the things. And the other thing that made him a great player, Never complain once. Like the true great ones that I really appreciate, never complain. They just go out there, they do it again and again and again. Calvin's a guy that got injured a lot, especially later in his career. Bigger body receiver, all those jump points, those high balls as you go up. When you come down at 235 pounds, 6'5", you start to take a toll on your back or on your knees or on your ankle. Calvin gave everything he had to this city for 10 years. First ballot Hall of Famer. There was no game plan for Calvin Johnson.
And outside, Matt.
And he has his own rule.
Absolutely. Yeah, outside of the 2014 season, really, he was one of the guys that, kind of made you feel like it was okay to be a Detroit Lions fan. You know what I mean?
Took the words out of my mouth.
So many lean years here in Detroit. He gave you a reason to show up and be a fan of the Detroit Lions.
Just like Barry did in the old days. Although those Barry teams would make the playoffs. These Lion teams with Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson, they struggled to do it. But they did. They got it going after a while. It just never got to what they really needed. And the Ndamukong Suh year in 2014 was basically the end. I know they made it a couple more times after that, but they never had their full complement of great players. So Calvin Johnson just outworked you. He just outworked you. Finally, his body broke down, and he could not do it anymore. And he decided to call it quits and has a successful career right now as an entrepreneur. So we're all very happy for him, and goes up into the Lions' pride tonight. Can't wait.
And Braylon, for a guy like Calvin Johnson, too, I think for a lot of us who watched his career, you were kind of playing at the same time. So I'm not sure if you had that same appreciation or a different appreciation being in the league as one of the greats. But, being here in Detroit and you're trying to figure out how to, put this guy into words, it would be a real shame if Calvin Johnson was not a member of this organization. So it almost makes you feel great that these two sides have patched up their differences and he is back in the family again and all seems to be well.
The thing that makes organizations great is it's the past. Maz, you will love this one. It's the former players as well as the current players. That's how you create that family. That's how fans get involved. That's how they stay involved. When I was with the Seattle Seahawks, you saw Walter Jones. You saw Steve Largent. You saw Warren Moon does the radio for them. Like, you saw countless players. They would come to practice. They would come to the locker room. They would be at events. They would do the things. Felt like a family. When I played for the 49ers, I don't even have to go in that one. When you win so many trophies, it's how it is. When I played for the Browns,
they didn't really have much, except Jim Brown.
They didn't know how to keep the former players involved. It's about the former players as much as it is about the current players. And I think the Lions are learning that. I'll give you a quick example.
Great point, Braylon.
100%. I'll give you a quick example. My dad played for the Lions. My dad played for the Oilers. So the Oilers and all teams do alumni weekend. The Jets alumni weekend was this past weekend. They lost, so I'm glad I wasn't there, but I wish I could have been. But he always talks about the Oilers and Titans, how they take care of the players. They bring you in. They put you up at the hotels. They do these events. They bring you around the current players so you get a chance to meet and ingratiate yourself. I've talked to Chris Jones, 2,000-yard rusher. We had Lindell White on the show. Same thing, he talked about it. On the other side, he would talk years about the Detroit Lions. Wasn't the best situation. He didn't like going. They didn't do anything for him. It felt forced. It felt put together. You had to buy your own tickets. Like, it just wasn't a situation where you felt part of the organization. And then fans, all they have are the current players. Now, just talking to some players, what they're doing for these former players this year, they're putting some of them up to MGM downtown. They have events for them. The events started Friday. It's a 4-day week. The event started Friday. So now these former players are coming around the organization. Now you're putting Calvin in the pride of Detroit. That's where you win. That's when the organization turns into a stellar organization. The Jets had the same thing. I saw the sack exchange more times than I care to count.
I bet.
And I love those guys. You know what I'm saying? So this is how an organization wins. You mix the former with the current, and I think the Lions starting to understand that concept. But guess who works with the Lions now? Chris Spielman. Chris Spielman's a former player.
And players talk, too. Yeah. I mean, even just look now at the situation happening in Detroit in the offseason with Amon-Ra and Penei Sewell and some of these guys that get Jared Goff, some of these guys that were taken care of and gotten paid this year. And then go look at Cincinnati, what's happening. I mean, you can understand that, hey, if you go to this team and you perform and you do what you're supposed to do, they'll do what they're supposed to do. And they're not going to make you scratch or crawl, claw for every penny that you get. If you earn it, they're going to give it to you. And that's one of the things that this organization has become. And like I said, players talk, and more players will want to be involved in an organization that takes care of its current players, obviously, that takes care of its former players, secondarily, and that's how you create a culture. That's how you create a franchise that people can be proud of.
One of the biggest marks of a franchise, if a franchise is successful, or did players enjoy their time and how they are, is how many of your star players, or how many of your players in general, how many of them stay in your city after their career is over? How many of those players go back to where they're from, or go back to where they played their college ball, or go back to a city that they enjoy, or a state with no tax? How many of your players do that? Back in the day, Lions, you got some of the guys from the 90s that did it. But once you start in 2000, when they were downtown at Ford Field, 2000, 2001, how many of those guys stay here? Did any guys for the last 24 years stay in Detroit? No. Those guys are going to another place where they play, or they're going back. Now, you'll start to see these guys stay. You'll start to see these guys invest time, invest money, invest energy. Amon-Ra St. Brown's already started foundations. I went to his bowling event last year. They're building roots here in Detroit, much like Lomas Brown, Barry Sanders, Herman Moore. That's what you expect of great franchise, and I think you'll start to see that more and more.
Yeah, it's just awesome to see. There's no doubt about it. How you doing over there, Maz? You
doing fine.
I see. If you had my view of Tom Masway, because the Mets are on, okay? If you had my view of Tom Masway, I just see out of the corner of my eye these facial expressions that are so encapsulating of every Met fan in the world, even though he's a Yankee fan, Tom Masway. You're
I'm a Met fan as well, buddy.
Yeah, I know, but
he's a New York fan.
You're a New York fan.
With the exception.
If you had,
the Rangers,
if one or the other could win the World Series, who would you want it to be?
Yankees.
Yankees. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Right.
But your facial expressions are priceless today. I just
the
want.
Mets did get some good news this weekend. You know, with the White Sox losing on Friday night, they have taken over the worst record of all time from the 1962 New York Mets. So at least they got that. They blew a game against Atlanta earlier this last week. So now they're in a must-win now. They're going to lose this game, and they're going to have to win the next game to make the playoffs. If they don't deserve it, right?
Well, according to Ryan, based on...
I think the Mets absolutely win the next game.
I can't bank on it, man. I don't bank on it. I don't.
Well, you don't have to bank on it.
I'm just saying, I just wouldn't count my chickens.
I'm just a blowhard with a microphone in front of me. It doesn't, what I say really doesn't matter at the end of the day.
By the way, you know what we forgot to say? Congrats to Tarek Skubal for winning
the Triple Crown.
The Triple Crown. Listen to this, guys. He is the second Tiger, the second Major League player since Justin Verlander to win the pitching Triple Crown. Verlander did it in 2011. No one else has done it. And if you go back, and Pete reminded me of this, Miguel Cabrera when he won the batting Triple Crown.
Home of the Triple Crown.
How about the last 3 Triple Crowns are from the Detroit Tigers?
And that's something?
That's something.
And Verlander, when he did it, he won the freaking MVP award. Why not Tarek Skubal for MVP?
Why not? Bobby Witt and Aaron Judge might have something to say, but that's okay.
I'm just saying.
I'd take Tarek Skubal over Bobby Witt. Like, if you take Tarek,
I don't know about that, buddy.
If you take any of these...
Everyday player versus a pitcher. Got to go with the everyday player.
But this pitcher's energy, like it revitalized the city. It reinvigorated the squad.
Oh, it did.
They made the wild card, and who knows what they're gonna do? You know, obviously when they start the playoffs tomorrow. But I think it's tighter than you think. They can't beat Aaron Judge, but I think it's tighter in terms of Skubal over Bobby Witt Jr.
Just hey, while we're doing baseball real quick, Pete, at the end of the show, I've got a couple stats here. Let's put up Aaron Judge's season for everyone to look at. This is Aaron Judge's New York Yankees season. So let's look and see if this is MVP worthy. Aaron Judge, go over those numbers with me, Ryan.
322 average, 58 home runs, 144 RBIs.
And his OPS, guys, is like 1,100. His slugging, we're 701. It's the first time anyone has slugged 700, and I don't even know how many years. Way back when. Now let's put up Shohei Ohtani's numbers for the LA Dodgers. I mean, this guy's the MVP of the entire MLB, if you ask me. This guy is a freak.
310 average, 54 home runs, 130 RBIs, and 59 stolen bases.
It's unbelievable. You will never see, ever, see those seasons again. Those 2 seasons, you will never see again.
It's pretty remarkable, man.
You know what I love about Shohei, and we need to get back to the Lions, so I won't make this long. It's not just home runs. Like when you see Shohei up to bat, when you see his hits or you see his stat count, they're not just home runs. There's singles, there's doubles, there's triples. Like Shohei can just hit. Like a lot of these home runs now, home run hitters, they're just hitting bombs. If they're not hitting bombs, they're not getting on base. Shohei is on base in a multitude of ways.
Can I ask a silly question?
Yeah.
The stolen base situation, 59 stolen bases. How many stolen bases do you think Ricky Henderson would have had if he had the benefit of, I know you can only throw over here 2 times.
200.
Oh, God. And the bases are bigger.
Right. I know you can
and you
only
can wear an
throw over
oven
here.
mitt.
Yeah. And you can wear an oven mitt.
200. He had 100. What's the record? Is 123?
Something like that.
Come on, man.
He had 123 back in the 80s.
Wow.
This is the 80s.
Wow.
It is incredible.
Hey, last baseball note,
Yeah.
Luis Ariz of the Padres, he won the batting championship for the 3rd straight year with 3 different teams. You're not going to see that again either.
No.
The batting title with 3 different teams, 3 straight years.
And probably a majority of baseball fans couldn't tell you one of the teams that he played with.
Nope, or they don't even know who he is.
Yeah, never heard of him.
Right. You'll see him in the playoffs, though. Watch out for the Padres.
You gotta, you got 3 teams you can name. You wouldn't even be. If I give you 10 guesses, you might be able to name one. I don't know. Pretty
Marlins.
incredible stuff. The Marlins.
Padres.
Yeah, well, the Padres. He was our all-star for the Padres.
Yep.
This
You know what?
year,
I don't even know
anyway.
the 3rd team.
Minnesota, I think.
Was it?
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Look at Ryan Ermanni.
Good job, Ryan.
I'm a baseball guy.
You know, one thing that surprised me about when we did this show is your baseball knowledge. Like, not your sports knowledge, but your baseball knowledge.
Love baseball.
You are dialed in to baseball. And
I
not
try.
Just the
I
Tigers.
don't like all of those new numbers, though. Like
exit velo is the one
the
you hate
exit
the most.
velo. Like I just don't like all of it. I mean, I know analytics has a place in the game, and that's fine. But one of the things when I was reading the screen, OPS, OBP, and this, that, and the other thing.
I like OPS.
I don't even think the average fan knows what slugging percentage is or OPS means. Like Maz is like, his OPS is 1100. I don't think most people don't even know what that means.
That's on-base percentage and slugging percentage put together.
Yeah.
Right. But people don't know what that means.
An average one is in the 700s.
Yeah, people might not understand that part of it, like whip.
Right.
Okay?
Walks to hits to innings pitch.
Right. I mean, people understand that, hell, if you got a whip or, either way. But people care about wins.
Yeah.
People care about home runs. What's your freaking average and how many runs can you drive in?
Yeah, here you go. You wanna find out how good Barry Bonds was?
The exit velo.
That OPS of 1159, everybody's going crazy over. That's what Barry Bonds' career average was. Barry Bonds' career average was 1120.
He was good.
Jesus.
He's a good player.
Pretty good.
Hey, let's get back to let's get back to the NFL. Let's get back to our picks, okay? So,
All
Maz,
right.
if you want to run down for us, our pick'em's brought to you by Caesars. Man, KG is on a freaking tear, this guy.
I
What
stayed
is
right with
going
him.
on with this
I stayed
guy,
right with
KG? Well, he's still 17-9 on the season.
He's one game ahead of me.
That's a big deal.
One game?
Yeah, I think one game is a big deal.
5-2 for Kenny and me.
Dang.
Ken's 17 wins. I got 16 wins. Bray had a bad week.
What'd I do?
You had 2-5. You're up. You're 10-18.
I'm one game behind Bray.
Pete and Ryan are tied. 3 wins last week. They both have 9 and 17.
Oh, man.
9
Where did I
and
go? Where did I
17.
go wrong?
You went wrong
Terrible.
on 5 picks.
You know what, man?
You went wrong.
Including my bet of the week.
You went off your original Chargers pick to go to the Chiefs.
I did.
So that would have been one loss
But
right there.
Chiefs won.
Yeah, but that's 7.5.
Dude, who's going to fire their coach first, the Jets or the Eagles?
Wow, I think the Jets.
Jets, if they lose, I was just talking about this with SNY. If the Jets lose this one,
Who are you talking to on SNY, by the way?
talking to John Connor as well as Janae Coakley. Janae Coakley worked for the Jets when I was there. Yeah, they got to go over across the pond, and they got to play the Vikings. The Vikings are very hot.
my.
Do you do video or is that
Zoom?
Is that no kidding?
Zoom. I started.
That's great, man.
Started today. Man.
That's why he's got his gear on.
Hey, man.
I love that.
Big things on the way. Big things.
I love that.
But if they lose to the Vikings, and it is disgusting fashion, because look, at the end of the day, the Jets, it's the offensive side of the ball where the problem is. So that has nothing to do with Robert Saleh. However, every time Robert Saleh gets in front of that microphone, He says the wrong thing. He says too much. And look, we love him. He's a native. I love Robert Saleh. I love his family. Has nothing to do with that. He's always saying too much. He just doesn't look like he's the guy for the job. If they get blown out by the Vikings across the pond, he's gone.
Some guys
They need a new kicker, by the way. Let's
some guys are
He did good
just
last year.
coordinators.
He sucks.
Some guys are just coordinators. Robert Saleh feels like it's one of them.
He does.
Brian Daboll feels like he's one of them.
He does.
You know, I mean, some guys.
What a disaster New York
Yeah,
is.
they're just I didn't even think about that when I said it. Both New York coordinators.
Are you ready for this?
Both New York coaches.
Pete, put the stat up that I have for the Jets and Giant fans this weekend. The Giants played Thursday night. The Jets played yesterday. So over 120,000 people
Unbelievable.
at the Meadowlands did not see a touchdown by their team.
That's insane, man.
No touchdown scored by the Giants and Jets.
That is what a crime.
That, you can't say that. That's amazing.
It's unbelievable. Isn't that something?
It's terrible.
It is. It definitely is something, and I think one of the big things, Ryan, is when you become a head coach, like you start to realize all the things that come with it. Look, you got to be down into, just starting with, you got to be on the same page as your owner in the front office. You got to be on the same page as the players. You got to understand your players. You got to balance your players. You got to deal with certain players. Certain players you treat differently than certain other players, certain personalities or whatever you want to call it. You got to know when to press your coordinators. You got to know when to tell your boy that you play poker with in the offseason, hey, look, you're effing up. Like, I need more out of you. Some guys can't do that. You got to be able to tell the offensive coordinator, if you're a defensive-minded coach, which you know nothing about offense, you got to tell that guy, hey, yo, Nathaniel Hackett, I need you to get in rhythm. I need you to find it. Like, where's the identity? Some guys don't have that. And then certain guys, when they hear themselves being critically talked about on TV or critically talked about in X or wherever you want to go, they can't handle it. They can't handle all of that. It is a lot to be a head coach, and you got to tip your hat off. When you start looking at guys that make it and the coaches that are the coaches, like we have one here, they have to deal with a lot. You got to give them a lot of credit.
Aaron Rodgers went on the podium yesterday, and we're going to play this for you. First of all, Robert Saleh said, hey, we got to change something with the cadence. Then Aaron Rodgers said, no, it ain't the cadence. Just hold these players accountable, all these offsides that they had. But then they asked him about, man, you scored 9 points. And he basically said, look, it's all on me and the offense.
People were saying your praises as a team after the Patriots game. Did you sense any kind of letdown?
No, I didn't. No, not at all. No, that's a really good defense. But when your defense holds them to 10, you gotta win the game 100% of the time. So that's on the offense. It's on me. Not good enough.
Discipline. Discipline and pressing. Garrett Wilson, one of my favorite receivers in the league. He fumbled on the first play of the game, Ryan, Mike.
Can't do it.
They had 13 penalties. They had 3 fumbles. Breece Hall doesn't look like the Breece Hall we used to. Meanwhile, behind the same offensive line, Braylon Allen is running with that same aggression. He's finding 5.4 yards a carry. Offensively, they got to look in the mirror. It's mano a mano. When your team does 10 and the defense gives up only 10, it's on the offense, and those guys just don't look like they want to play.
And honestly, conversely, the Philadelphia Eagles look like they have quit too.
What did I say my best bet was last week?
Tampa Bay. Yeah. Philadelphia has quit on that Nick Sirianni guy.
They're not good. And Jalen Hurts he's not good. I don't know what happened to him, Braylon. What happened to this kid that once had a lot of confidence? Go to the Super Bowl.
Shane Steichen.
Just a couple of plays. There you go.
Shane Steichen.
There you go.
Like
I can't believe how much that made a difference.
You want to hear something funny? Look at the Patriots. Although Tom Brady was great his whole career, essentially, how many Super Bowls did he win as soon as Charlie Weiss left? Not Charlie. It's Charlie. Charlie Weiss. How long did it take Tom Brady to get back to it? Offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator.
Josh McDaniels.
It took him forever to get there. You lock into a guy, man. These like quarterbacks and offensive coordinators, they have a special relationship. They eat together. They watch film together. Like eventually they have kids and they do the things together. Like they legitimately spend a lot of time breaking down film and talking about how these things work. So when you find one, especially a guy that changes how you are. Jalen Hurts was struggling the first year. And then finally they said, hey, look, let's meet this guy in the middle. Let's stop talking about what he's not. Let's talk about what he is, and then let's build on that. Well, that was Shane Steichen. And then to get to the Super Bowl, he finished second in the MVP rating. Then Shane Steichen gets a job, and now he's looking for another Shane Steichen. And then Kellen Moore just doesn't seem to be it, especially now with A.J. Brown. So those offensive core. Look at Ben Johnson and Jared Goff. If Ben Johnson wouldn't have been there this year,
you don't know.
Is there a better coaching job or is there a better coach team in the league right now than Kevin O'Connell and the Minnesota Vikings?
Nope.
4-0 are the Minnesota Vikings. Sam Darnold is their quarterback. They jumped out to a 28-0 lead yesterday on the road at Green Bay. You did call that, Bray. And now, how about this stretch for the Vikings? They go Jets. They could go 5-0. Lions at home, and then at Rams, Colts, Jags, Titans, Bears. I mean,
I'm happy the Lions get the Vikings after the Vikings are coming back from across the pond.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
that Jets
just
game
for the
is
Lions.
That's a good talk.
That's a good call. It is a bye week, but nonetheless,
He's still getting on rhythm. Man.
Yeah, Jets this week in London.
I think the Jets beat him in London.
Really?
I'm calling it right now. Jets are going to win that game. We'll pick it on Friday, but I'm already telling you I'm taking the Jets.
They just got to run the ball and be physical up front, man. Like when they do that, look, the defense is giving you what you need out of them. Like you got to help that defense out. I think if anybody can do it, but Aaron Rodgers nursing an injury. He's got a little bit of a hammy situation. He's been trying to get out of that pocket, man.
Packers outscored him 29-3 down the stretch and still lost.
I do understand that.
No, they closed, man. And if he didn't throw that pop-up, Jordan Love literally threw a pop-up with about 6 minutes to go in that game in the end zone and had no business throwing that ball. I probably would have started Malik Willis yesterday, to be honest, because I thought he looked off.
They did close that game strong yesterday, but I think being up 28-0 is almost the same.
You take your foot off the gas.
Yeah, it's the same that you play that game much differently, and it's just
no
when
doubt.
a team comes back, all that.
That was also the story of this weekend.
Right.
The comeback.
The
Michigan,
Georgia,
Minnesota.
Oh my gosh, we gotta get to that Georgia Alabama game.
Wow.
That kid's 17 years old.
I turned it off.
I went to bed.
30-3. I put on what's Sylvester Stallone show?
Tulsa King.
I put on Tulsa King. I turned it back. I'm like, what the hell did I miss?
Dude, I went to bed. I saw a thing. The kid from Alabama, freshman, saves Alabama.
He looks like
I was like,
he's faster than J-Mo.
I was like, what do you mean saves Alabama?
And he's more dynamic.
And he's
like
17.
17.
Pause when I say this. He's a thicker, muscular athlete. He's
Pause.
I said
All right, guys.
Jalen Milroe looked damn good.
Heisman Trophy. Him and Travis Hunter.
Cam Ward, Miami.
Third.
Okay.
Like far third.
Guys, Lions and Seahawks tonight, Monday Night Football in Detroit. Dave Wyman, Seahawks radio analyst, going to join us, former NFL linebacker as well. He'll talk to us next, but first, the message from Caesars.
Oh, Caesars. Hail Caesar.
You know what? Today is the perfect day for it. You see this, scan this QR code. Why, you say? What if I told you can bet up to $1,000, and if your bet doesn't hit, you get $1,000 back in bonus bets. This is what you can do at Caesars Sportsbook, the sportsbook of Woodward Sports. All you got to do is use code word, you ready for this? All caps, Woodward 1000. Again, it's this QR code above my head. You'll get your deposit back if you went up to $1,000. Minimum bet, just $20. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app today, the official sportsbook of Woodward. As I said, look, this is where it's at. This is where the magic happens. We got some bets coming up for you with my man P. Spyback. So this is where you want to make those bets, Caesars Sportsbook.
Hey, and don't forget our injury expert is Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spines. He joins, of course, Big D Energy every Tuesday. He sits in with us on Thursdays. Dr. Jeff Pierce is the man at DMAC and Braylon Trust. Make sure you check him out at MichiganSportsandSpine.com or give them a call, 248-426-9944. It's Dr. Pierce.
And what about pets? How many?
My man. My favorite pet store. You know it. It's PremierPetSupply.com. Family owned and operated for over 30 years. Lola loves it. Of course, they got 13 Metro Detroit locations, 60 brands of food, and of course, they've got the lowest prices available, curbside delivery if you need it. Give your pet the best. Don't settle for less. PremierPetSupply.com.
It's bear hunting season, and Dan Campbell is hungry for some kneecaps.
If you can just get a hold of them and you start dragging their ass out to the deep, dark abyss, you can drown them.
The Kings of the North are back for another year of the brand new Lions. Make sure you're locked in to Detroit's #1 sports network for all the news and info on your Detroit Lions.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit sports.
Prove that you can get just as strong at Planet Fitness. We're seeing if people can tell the difference between our 75-pound dumbbell and a 75-pound dumbbell from an overpriced competitor gym. Okay, the old flick test, that never fails.
There's literally no difference.
Plus, you can save $28 or more when you join today. Wow.
Why would I pay more to lift the same weights?
It's the Planet Fitness Strong Choice Sale. Save $28 or more. Join for $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends October 10th. Planet Fitness. Light price, strong choice.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Have you heard of a long drink, the gin-based cocktail? We've got one made right here in Michigan, made with all natural ingredients for a better flavor. Taller, the Dutch long drink from New Holland Brewing Company is shoulders above the rest, made from New Holland's small batch gin, 100% real grapefruit puree for a fresh and delicious flavor. Taller, your local long drink, Bray.
Soroki's is now the home of signature wings, featuring, talking about that honey barbecue, the lemon pepper, the garlic. Oh, they have them all. This is the place you want to be. Football season is right around the corner. Actually, it's here. And Monday Night Football, Detroit Lions, Seattle Seahawks. Don't you want to have some of these signature wings for a limited time only? This is where you want to be. And it's at Soroki's, home of the crispy chicken and pizza. Also, great fountain soda, as you'll ask my boy Maz over there. And don't forget about the honey biscuits, fresh salads, and sides. Simply put, Soroki's is finding a way to make everything you need under one umbrella. Soroki's.
Hey, gang, if you're looking for a new vehicle, Les Stanford is the place to go. Looking for a pre-owned vehicle? That's right, Les Stanford has you covered as well. Les Stanford added the Buick GMC dealership to its car lineup. They are located in Ferndale. UAW members get a $1,500 voucher towards new vehicles as well. And if you're looking for a Chevy or a Cadillac, Les Stanford has you covered as well. LesStanford.com. They bring you the Dan Miller interview each and every week here on Woodward Sports. They do so on Wednesdays. If you're in the market for a new car, need some service, you're looking for a pre-owned car, give Les Stanford a try. LesStanford.com, LesStanford.com. Absolutely. We want to thank them as well. And, hey, hour number 2 of the program, we're excited. Lions and Seahawks tonight from Ford Field. Our good friend Dave Wyman is on with us now. Seahawks radio analyst, former NFL linebacker, co-host of the Wyman and Bob Show on Seattle Sports 710. First and foremost, Dave, thanks so much for joining us. But secondly, how in the world do you do 5 hours every day? We barely can get through
That's
2.
That's a lot, Dave.
I don't know, man. It used to be a 3-hour show with 3 guys. Now it's a 5-hour show with 2 guys. So,
sounds about right.
More with less.
Sounds about right.
That happened around the pandemic time, as you could probably guess.
There you go.
Hey, Dave, we are big fans of Mike McDonald in this area. He was the defensive coordinator for the University of Michigan, and one of the greatest seasons in recent memory for the University of Michigan. He leaves Michigan for Baltimore, and then ultimately becomes the head coach of Seattle. What is he doing well in Seattle right now?
You know, I think it's kind of general and maybe not sexy, but it's the communication and the way he relates to players, and it's really different from what they've had, here with Pete Carroll. And try not to compare him too much to Pete, because Pete did a great job, 10 of 14 years, taking the team to the playoffs, winning the Super Bowl championship. But it just, at the end there, especially on defense, the communication part of it was really tough. And this is a guy that holds people to his standards, and he does it in a very blunt way. And I don't mean it like rude, but just very matter of fact. And so everybody knows exactly what's expected of them. And then, especially on defense, and this is where they've really improved. I mean, they were number 31 against the pass for 2 or 3 years in the distant, not so distant past. And, they're number 1 right now. They're only giving up 132 yards through the air. So, yeah, it's just, I think it's the way he communicates, and he holds people to a high standard. And like I said, he says things like, if I said it, somebody might think I was, I don't want to say a jerk, but like, would be like, who the hell are you? And he does it in a way that's like very matter of fact. And yeah, I love it.
Talking to Dave Wyman, and Dave, Geno Smith has had a pretty good run as well. I'm not sure too many people expected when he got the job that he would still be in that job, in that role a year plus later. What has he been doing so well? I mean, if you look at 3 unbeaten teams in the NFL, if you told me Minnesota and Seattle would be 2 of them, I'd tell you probably don't know football, but apparently you do. But what are they doing well, Geno Smith and the Seattle team offensively?
Well, and I'm really comfortable with him putting the ball in his hands. If they can't run the ball tonight, that's kind of what they did in New England. New England had a big front 7, kind of an old school, like when I played, 255-pound linebackers and, just 320-pound defensive linemen. And they put it in his hands, and he took them on a game-winning drive in overtime. He's 75% completion percentage. I mean, I think it's just kind of what I was talking about with the defense, that these coaches are able to, explain exactly what they want out of Geno. And then he just happens to be a very accurate passer. I think 2 years ago when he went to the Pro Bowl, he was like 70% completion, which is tough to do in the NFL. So, yeah, he's just really coming into his own. And, you look at the 3 interceptions that he threw. One was tipped, and then the other 2 he got hit. So he's making great decisions and just playing his tail off, man. It's really cool to see. What a strange sort of path, where he starts off as a starter, and then he ends up as a backup, seemingly a career backup, and then now all of a sudden it's like he's in year 3 of like a first round draft choice. It's pretty amazing what he's doing.
Like he said they wrote me off, but I didn't write back. Dan Wyman, how you doing? Good to see another fellow Seattle brother-in-law, man. There you go, man. Fellow alum. How you doing, big guy?
Well, I'm doing great. I remember when you were up in Seattle, man, and yeah, we miss you.
I appreciate
that.
You
look like you could still play.
I'm trying to stay in shape. I'm trying to keep on par with you. I always enjoyed my time out in Seattle, and I feel like it was a franchise that if I could have got drafted too, I think I could have had a long-standing career. Pete really took care of his guys. I love Schneider and those guys. It was fun out there, just a little bit too late in the career. But with that being said, thank you for that. The run game, I think that's what we want to talk about. You look at K9, he's from Michigan State up the road. You look at Zach Charbonnet, he's from Michigan down the street as well. That's where they made their nuts and bolts this season. They're very good on the ground. I think they lead the league in terms of total rushing right now. How have they been so effective running those 2 different style runners? How have they been so effective up to this point?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I think, when you look at like the scheme of, when you have like the post and pull type of old-fashioned pulling guards, and Zach Charbonnet is really patient, and he had a 13-yard run last week where it just looked like a mess up front, and he just sort of let everything, took a little stutter step, let everything, sort of open up, and then he's got great vision and really good feet. If you look at his feet, I mean, he's a big, huge, tough guy. Every time I see him, I tell him, keep running people over, man. Keep running them over, because if you're a linebacker or a DB and you got a guy that's coming at you and you think he might run you over, you're going to fall for, maybe a juke or something like that. So he's really got a great style. But now that K9's back, K9's more of like a quick hitter. Like he can run through a gap that's, not even big enough for him to fit through sometimes. And he just got that quickness. So I think it'll be interesting now that we'll see how this plays out. Like, is it going to be like 70-30, 75-25? I don't know as far as like how they're going to handle the rushes. But man, they also have a guy named Kenny McIntosh from Georgia that they haven't used a lot. I mean, he got his first appearance and carry last week, and this is his second year, so he looks really good too. But I think the biggest problem though is especially the interior part of the offensive line. They're just not moving guys like they want to. So that's been kind of a little bit of a question mark as far as the two guards and the center. And then, we lost one of our tackles. I mean, he'll be back, I think, Abraham Lucas, but you got Charles Cross, who's excellent on the left-hand side. But yeah, a lot of it has to do with the offensive line just not moving people.
Yeah, I wanted Charles Cross here as a Detroit Lion a couple years ago when he was in the draft. Talking to Seahawks radio analyst Dave Wyman. Dave, another question. You got a lot of weapons, it seems, in Seattle on the offense. DK Metcalf is the guy talking about the wide receiver core. Jackson Smith and Jigba. Tyler Lockett. Are the Detroit Lions in trouble of getting prepared for the run so much that they forget about what they have in the back end in terms of that wide receiver core that really can play some ball as well?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's always like, who's going to be the leading receiver? I mean, they're all so talented. And and JSN's the interesting one to me, just because he doesn't look like he's playing fast, and he doesn't look like he's putting great moves out there. Like DK, you know why he is getting targets and catches. He's just a big, powerful, like a power forward. And then, you've got Tyler, who's just so adept at finding the middle of where the zone is and things like that. But JSN, I don't know, it looks like he's not moving that fast, and he is. And he just has a great sense for the game. So, yeah, all three of those guys, really good. I think Noah Fant's a better than average pass catcher as a tight end. And then the backs can catch it out of the backfield. So he's got a lot of targets. And I'm okay putting the ball in Geno's hands, throw it 40 times if you need to. I feel like he can get that done with his accuracy and his decision-making.
Dave, thanks for coming on with us, by the way. Tom Mazaway here. Wanted to ask you about the last year's team versus the Lions. They come in here. It was the Lions home opener, September 17th. It was a hell of a game. They did everything right. The Lions did nothing right, except they got it closer than it would have even was. They went to overtime with them, but 3 turnovers, including a defensive touchdown. What do you see in that Lion team that went to the NFC Championship and this Lion team so far through 3 games? Do you see a major difference?
Yeah, I would say, especially with Jared Goff, he seems to have gotten really good at throwing that little. You see a lot of your offense, a lot of compacted, formations, and then that little 8 to 10 yard out route to St. Brown or whoever it is. He's gotten really good at that throw. And then, you look at some of the other things like this Dan Skipper guy, 6'9". I mean, is he truly 6'9"?
He is.
Yeah. So, I mean, they check him in as an extra offensive lineman, and it just looks like they want to absolutely bludgeon you, and I feel like that's kind of the characteristic of Dan Campbell. But, interesting thing, the Seahawks, I think, have won the last 5, but the last 3 games, which all happened, 21, 22, 23, the opening kickoff or the opening possession by the Lions, the Seahawks have gotten a takeaway or a pick 6 in all 3 of those games. And so great, I think last year it was Uchenna forced a fumble, and then two plays later, K9 scores a touchdown. The year before that, Reek Woolen picked off a pass and had the pick six. And then the year before that, DJ Reed picked it off, and then I think it was Russell Wilson at that time threw a touchdown to DK. So they've gotten off to really good starts in the second half, but it's been a really good battle, and I'm really looking forward to this one. This is a good Monday night matchup.
It is. Would you say this would be their toughest opponent yet from the 4 games? This will be their 4th game. They're 3-0, but they haven't played maybe up the caliber of this Lions team.
Absolutely their toughest test, and a lot of it having to do with the quarterback. Jared Goff is a good quarterback, and they haven't really faced that. They had Bo Nix the first week. The second week it was I'm spacing on I was going to say
Patriots.
Anyway, we'll get
Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett.
Thank you very much. And then last week you had second and third stringers with Skylar Thompson and Tim Boyle. So, yeah, it's a test to see if this defense holds up against this legitimate quarterback, because I think Jared Goff is really good. And the two guys, kind of interesting, their pathway. As far as, Jared started off as the number 1 pick and then kind of lost his way, and the Rams didn't want him. And then, he comes to Detroit, kind of resurrects his career. And Geno, same thing, except a lot older and a lot more period of time as being a backup. And now all of a sudden he's looking like one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the NFL, and his stats show it.
Hey, Dave, do you buy into the thought process that some teams just have your number? I mean, it's actually 6 in a row the Seahawks have won, 9 of the last 10. Braylon was on the squad in 2012, the last time the Lions had beaten the Seahawks. I mean, it just feels like if you go through the history, the Detroit Lions have a devastating record against Seattle. It's just some guys, they just have your number. Do you buy into that kind of mindset, or is every game just different?
I think every game's different. And, you could say maybe the last couple of years, but and that is kind of a weird stat that you turn the ball over if you're Detroit against Seattle. Turned the ball over all 3 opening drives of the second half, and I think there, like you said, there was another pick six, Trey Brown, last year. So, yeah, I think the guys change over and a little bit, but the leadership with Dan Campbell, that's certainly something, and just the way that he calls games and things like that. But like for the most part, I'm like, yeah, you can get bad matchups game to game, but I feel like year after year, your roster turns over so many times that maybe it's not a thing.
Dave, quick question.
We hope so, though.
Speak for yourself, Dave.
Last question for me. You look at the Seattle Seahawks over the years. They lose Russell Wilson, and they're expected to take this step. Well, they actually took a step in the right direction, and then they lose Pete Carroll, and they're expected to take another step. They actually take a step in the right direction with Mike McDonald. What is it about the Seahawks franchise? Is it Brian Schneider, GM, that allows them to continue to get better regardless of the pieces that they're losing?
Yeah, I think Schneider is one of the better GMs. He has an uncanny ability to find players, and I think that's really, and now he's in charge. So, in years past, it was Pete who had the final say, and I think John said maybe there was a couple of times or a handful of times where he wanted a certain player, and then Pete stepped in and said, no, we're taking this guy, and some of those decisions. And now John has total autonomy, and he's gonna call it the way he calls it. And I think everything from going and getting, like, one good example would be Devin Witherspoon. Last year they took him with the number 5 pick. You look at him, he's not physically imposing by any means. We really didn't need a corner, and he picks him with the number 5 pick. He was like the best player on the team as a rookie last year, on the entire team. So, he just has an uncanny ability to find guys like that. You could throw Richard Sherman in there, and KJ Wright, and Bobby Wagner was a 2nd rounder. Russ was a 3rd rounder. I mean, I think that 2012 draft was rated as one of the best drafts of all time. So I just, yeah, I can't really identify it. John is such a nice guy, and he's one of my better friends. We don't usually talk football, but yeah, he just has an ability to identify talent, and yeah, it's uncanny. But yeah, I think that's, I think he is kind of more of the face of this franchise than people thought over the last few years, because everything was all about Pete Carroll, and rightfully so. Pete was fantastic, but yeah, I think that John has a real quality about him that people don't really realize or understand.
Yeah, Dave, we can't thank you enough for your time, my man. Enjoy the game tonight. And Lions and Seahawks, man, another rivalry, another game in their chapter of this long, sad history for us here in Detroit. Thanks. And good luck with that.
I'm new to this,
man.
Yeah,
I'm new to this.
Good luck with that 5-hour radio show, man.
Yeah, good job, Dave. Give us a call.
What's worse, playing linebacker in the NFL or 5 hours?
5 hours.
God bless you, Dave. My goodness. We'll see you, buddy. All right,
see you, bud.
You got it. Dave Wyman, Seahawks Radio. Great stuff there.
By the way, the Mets have tied up the game.
Incredible.
3-3.
Incredible. I'm telling you. The
Bottom of the
bullpens,
eighth.
right? That's what the Tigers
Yes.
do great. Their bullpen. Anywho, hey guys, a special guest in studio with us next, former Detroit Lion Bill Bentley. We're going to sit him in here. Are you kidding me?
Louisiana
Let's
love.
go.
Third round
Lions
draft
Seahawks
pick.
tonight. But first, a message from us here at Woodward Sports. Hey, Detroit, the New Holland pregame company, Lions pregame show. Every game, Neil Rule, Sean Belegian bring you the best Lions pregame show, 10 a.m. to noon. Woodward Sports, actually, that's tonight. Actually, join us every Sunday. It's the Lions at the second best bar in Detroit, your official guide to Lions game day, Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports, brought to you by Tangerine Space Machine, Taller, your local long drink, Sabbath Coffee, and Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. Lions pregame show here on Woodward Sports.
And you can fuel your Lions fandom with the perfect cup and become a subscriber of Sabbath Coffee Roasters. Whether you're gearing up for a big game or savoring a quiet morning, Sabbath Coffee Roasters has you covered with fresh, locally roasted specialty coffee delivered right to your door. Choose your favorite roast. Use code word Woodward at www.sabbathcoffeeroasters.com to get 25% off your first subscription order. Awake and unwind, support local, and enjoy game day right with Sabbath Coffee Roasters. We're coming right back.
Can't get enough Lions coverage? Make sure you catch all Woodward sports shows every game day. Wake up with Woodward and Maine, giving you the latest insight into the Lions locker room and press conferences. Then join the Lions pregame show, highlighting key matchups, injuries, and what to watch for during the game. Follow all the ups and downs of the live game action with our Woodward Watch Party live on YouTube and woodwardsports.com. After the game, check out the instant fan and host reactions with the Lions postgame show. Every game, it's wall-to-wall, kneecap-biting, high-fiving, chest-pumping Lions coverage.
Hell yeah!
Only at Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit sports.
Prove that you can get just as strong at Planet Fitness. We're seeing if people can tell the difference between our 75-pound dumbbell and a 75-pound dumbbell from an overpriced competitor gym. Okay, the old flick test, that never fails.
There's literally no difference.
Plus, you can save $28 or more when you join today.
Wow. Why would I pay more to lift the same weights?
It's the Planet Fitness Strong Choice Sale. Save $28 or more. Join for $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends October 10th. Planet Fitness. Light price, strong choice.
Blow Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Would you like to play golf with a legend like Darren McCarty, Kirk Gibson, Calvin Johnson, or the great Braylon Edwards? It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour. Register today, and you could play like a VIP. Go to woodwardsports.com or scan that QR code above my head. And when it comes to your next car or truck, make the wise decision. It's Randy Wise Automotive, and you want to look good when you go to shop.woodwardsports.com right now and load up on the latest Detroit sports merch. The Tigers are in the playoffs. The Lions are in the Super Bowl hunt. So head to shop.woodwardsports.com right now and represent well. Back to the show, boys.
Hey, welcome back. Woodward Sports Network. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, and former Detroit Lion Bill Bentley, third-round pick in 2012. One of the fan favorites, played with this team until 2015. Back in Detroit tonight, going to be at the game. Bill, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing all right. Yourself?
Doing fantastic. It's so good to see you. When you came to Detroit, it was
different.
For sure it was different. For sure. The culture was different. But the ground was still there, right? So, yeah.
It's a different feeling now with this organization, is it not?
Yeah, it's a different feeling. They winning, so that's we're gonna start with that. That's rule number one. With the coaches and all that good organization. Other than that, you know what I'm saying? That's what I see better. We put in the work. We was grinding, but we just can't make it happen how these guys making it happen.
Bill, that 2014 team. That was a game that our good friend Tom Mazaway always looks back on, that 2014 team that you were a part of. And that was the closest thing to a Super Bowl team that the Lions had. When you think back to that era of Lions football, what do you remember about that 14 team specifically?
We was a tight-knit. We was together, good brotherhood. We had each other back, and we played well.
Shout out to my boy Bill. What's up, Hoagie?
What's up with it, Braylon?
You know what time it is, man. You know, we talked last year. It's good to see you again.
Yes, sir. Always.
My boy, K. Mose.
Yes, sir. Kendra Mosley. Yes, sir. Shout out to K. Mosley, Kendra Mosley, Polk, Florida.
100%. Yes, sir. School up the street, Western Michigan.
Yes,
so
sir. Western, yeah, all that.
Before we jump into new one, what's going on new with you? I know you and your wife had a clothing line. I want to get in that too. Mm-hmm. But talking about 2014, there was a guy on the team named Calvin Johnson, Megatron. Everybody knows Megatron. He's going into the Pride of the Lions tonight. You're already first ballot Hall of Famer. UDB, you line up against Megatron. What was it like going against 81? What was it like the behind the scenes stuff? What was it like? Reality. Talk to me.
Scary as fuck. Reality. But
respect.
But as a man with pride, you got to get up there and you got to compete. You know what I'm saying? So you still got to get up there and do your thing. So at the end of the day, when you first met him, it was kind of like, shit, it's Megatron, you know what I'm saying? It's like, fuck, but, you know what I'm saying? Time roll on, it's like, shit, that's Megatron. I'm Bill Bentley, so shit, It is what it is. We gonna get it, you know what I'm saying? I got to compete with him. But it was an honor planning with this guy, going up against him, seeing how hard he worked, seeing how he was always number one at everything, how he'll hold the door from you if you freaking 5 feet away. So it was a pleasure being around him and seeing all the amazing things that he did, though.
By the way, shout out to Louisiana and the Raging Cajuns, 3-1. Sitting there.
Just beat Wake Forest. You've seen that. ACC.
Shout out to that.
For sure.
I want to talk about your position and the guys now. Terrion Arnold, young cat out of Alabama, coming to the season. Like, what would be your advice to Terrion Arnold coming against this league in terms of can't really put your hands on anything? It's a little different in 2014. Now, you can't touch receivers at all. What would be your advice to him? Because the boy got that dog in him, kind of like yourself.
For sure. Man, experience is the best advice for anybody. Like, you know what I'm saying? He going to learn. He going to grow. You know what I'm saying? At some point, he going to get that swagger. And when he get that, he going to take off. He a phenomenal kid. Like, you even said that viral video he did about his mama. You know what I'm saying? Even things like that. You know what I'm saying? So So it gonna follow him, you know what I'm saying? The good gonna come with all the good things that he do. So it's just it take time, you know what I'm saying? But when it happens, he gonna take off like a rocket.
Talking to former Lion Bill Bentley, and Bill, when Braylon said hello to you just a moment ago, I wasn't lost on it. He said, "What's up, Pahokee?" Mm-hmm. That's where you're from in Florida. Mm-hmm. Where you came from in Florida to get to where you got to in the league. And then more importantly to me, husband, father, business owner, that track is not a natural track.
Sure.
Can you just talk about that personal struggle, that fight, that will to not only succeed on the football field, but I think more importantly, the role model part of being a professional athlete to me is what you've done off of it.
Yes. First off, we're going to thank God for all the blessings.
Say
you know what I'm
less.
saying? We're gonna give him all the praises. And, man, shout out to my wife. Shit. She's phenomenal, bro. She a dog. She a go-getter. She different. My nigga, she got that grit. Like Detroit say, she got that grit.
Yeah.
She want to be the best at whatever she does, and that's what she do. You know what I'm saying? She blessed with so many talented skills, and she one-on-one for sure that. And that's just it, for sure.
But to have that desire to do good, I'm sure a lot of your friends in Pahokee probably didn't go down that same path that you went down.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. That too, though, man. Okay. That was a blessing too. But you know how it is, man. It's like only the strong survive, man. It's like it ain't no different from Pahokee, from where you from. You know what I'm saying? From where Braylon from. If you want it, you go get it. You know what I'm saying? It was like, I ain't gonna say I was the best guy coming out of Polk. It was just some guys that made some mistakes that I wasn't willing to make. You get what I'm saying? So I was trying to put myself in different position, and the Lord was blessing me and putting me in different atmosphere, you know what I'm saying, around good people, and I was flourishing. You get what I'm saying? So, man, it was a blessing, and it did take hard work coming out of Polk. Only the strong survive. You know what I'm saying? If you make it out of there, you know, hey, man, you different.
Bill, what did you take from the league to a businessman now? Like what morals, what values, what tools did you use that got you to the league, that got you to the Lions, that got you drafted 3rd overall? Now have you as a successful businessman, an entrepreneur. What crossed over for you?
Not wanting to fail, right? Obviously, man, you get
you
that.
with the right guy in that case.
You get that call in the NFL when you can't do it no more. You know what I'm saying? You don't want that feeling again. And obviously in the business world, y'all know it's like shit. It ain't easy. I ain't sitting up acting like we the best business in the world. But you know what I'm saying? We get it done though. We get it done, and a lot of people fail though. So it's a blessing, bro. And we just work hard. We put our foot forward, and you know what I'm saying? And we just thank God, bro, for real.
Live. Thank God.
Yeah.
Hey, Dwight. Glad to have you here today,
CJ.
buddy.
I was staying
for sure, because the things a lot you don't know about Dwight is, right, he came in as a 3rd round pick. That was a year that Aaron Berry got cut from the team for the gun charges. And Dwight comes in as a rookie, as you said, going up against Calvin Johnson first practice, not knowing the defense, being a complete rookie. But also he had another friend on the team from Pahokee. Alfonso Smith is from Pahokee.
I play against Fine.
Janoris Jenkins, one of Bill's best friends, you know, that was drafted, you know,
shout
in the 2nd round. 30
Shout out House Entertainment.
And if Dwight could even name probably 10 guys that made it in the league. But the facts of coming in the league and, you know, having a sore shoulder and making a pick in his 1st or 2nd preseason game. And, you know, just tell him a little bit about your story of coming in as a 3rd round pick, Dwight, and coming to a new city and really never, you know, seeing the country from basically Pahokee to Lafayette, and that's pretty much it. Tell him a little bit about how life came full circle for you.
Wow.
We can even talk about his mom working very hard growing up without his dad around, and him waiting home for his mom, who's working nonstop 6 days a week, and he's waiting for her to get home so he can have, you know, a Wendy's, 2 cheeseburgers and fries.
Incredible.
I mean, from chasing rabbits around to make extra money. He's very, very loyal, close to his friends, the people he grew up with. And obviously I'm going to be very proud of him since I, you know, I'm around him and see him regularly down in South Florida all the time.
Yeah. So coming to Detroit, man, it was definitely an honor. It was a blessing. I had so much fun. It was at a high in life, right? It was different. The experiences, doing something that people thought that you could never do, right? But being that one that got chosen to do it and to perform, right? It was unbelievable, man. Man, it took hard work. Took wanted to like listen, you know what I'm saying? Wanted to learn from the guys that was already doing it. Obviously, you can't, you know what I'm saying? You can't do it without that. Because if you think you can come in and do it by yourself like that, it don't happen for you. Nah. Gunther Cunningham always say it'll chew you up and spit you out.
I'm sure you got some stories about that guy.
I was going to say, so why don't you tell them a little difference between coming in and working for Jim Schwartz and Gunther Cunningham and then going from them two to Coach Caldwell. Give us a little insight to how you were coached and how, you know, the team in the locker room was and the aggressiveness of coaching.
We're gone. Honestly, it was fucking straight old school, right? Just straight old school. It was good. We had some good players. Just wasn't updated enough, I think, to my understanding, to my experience. When Jim took over, we went #1 in red zone, and #1 in third down. So we competed. He put us in positions to perform, right? Jim was smart as shit. So he fucking put us in the position to make the plays, and we was making the plays, and we was having fun. And with Caldwell, just a different guy, brought everybody together as one, brought the atmosphere to a whole different level in the locker room, helped everybody accountable. Calling out the best guys, right, on film, let them know, like, we can't do this, we can't win like this, the good teams don't win like this, right? And y'all seen 2014 that we performed high, they performed very high.
So what he's basically saying is, not to interrupt you guys, this is your show.
To your network.
Gunther might have been the defensive coordinator by name, but actually with the second year that they went into that defense, Jim took back over the defense and was calling the plays into Tully's helmet. So the reason why Tully and Jim were so good, because Tully's very calm and chill. But you can hear stories from Tully telling you, you know, the first 10 seconds, Jim's just cussing in his ear, you know, tell Bill to do this, tell Fonzo to do this, or they're coming out of the damn game right now, blah, 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 blah. And Tully's just like, okay, but tell me the next play, tell me the next play. So you go from someone that's just, you know, personality crazy to Coach Caldwell, who's much more calm and relaxed. But Gunn and Jim are pretty much the same personality, but Jim took over the defense.
I just think Caldwell brought like that championship mindset and atmosphere. He tried to, you know what I'm saying? He tried to give us that feeling of like, taste this, guys. Like this what it tastes like. If you guys do this, this is the reward that come behind it, right? I think that's what was his kind of like his vision. And we did. We played good. We played well. Fucking, they went to Dallas and they should have won that game. That with Hatcher, with Pettigrew, that fucking.
He has Tom Mazaway, our buddy over here, has nightmares because they don't even start on that one.
But all the coaches was different. Everybody was different in their own ways. We all learned from them. I remember Jim, man, we was playing against Green Bay, right? We was playing against Green Bay, and some Green Bay was doing it. Jim Schwartz wanted me to go outside, and I'm like, man, fuck, man, that shit don't work. And Jim heard me, fucking run over there. He's scrumming over there, scrumming. What the fuck you said? We don't talk to me like that. You don't talk to me like that. I'm like, oh my fucking God. And CJ Mosley come home and like, young boy, man, we don't talk. You can't do that around here, man. Your ass get kicked off the team. And I'm like, oh man, like I'm sorry. I'm in my head. I'm like, I'm fucked, man, you know. But that was a cool story about Jim. Yeah, CJ Mosley. That was my guy, man. That was a good guy.
Boo Ray.
Yeah.
Boo Ray, little tongue action.
Do you keep in touch with any of those guys still?
The D linemen, man. That's
anybody.
For sure. Yeah. I like keeping up in touch. All the guys keep in touch for sure. Some of the ones that was, you know what I'm saying, the ones you was cool with, you keep in touch with.
I ran into Steve Tulloch was in town promoting something for something the other day.
Steven.
He looks like he could still play.
Yeah.
You know, he looks like he could still play. You look like you could suit up tonight.
Tell him to go. You know, tell him can do it. No shit. I'm done, man. I can't do it no more. It's over with. You know what I'm saying? The window closed, and you know what I'm saying? And it is what
See,
it is.
they don't understand, Bill. Like, we do this for aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, like, what you see on the outside, it look good. On the inside, I ain't got nothing left. I got no post marks. I got no fade.
Yeah, you do it.
I don't got 4 plays. I got none of that. All I have is 2 eyes to watch the game.
The desire ain't even there to do it no more. I'm hurt. Goddamn.
How much fun are you having with your kids?
My kid is my life, man, for real. You know what I'm saying? My kid is my everything. He a blessing. You know what I'm saying? I try to give him the experience that I ain't never had, and you know what I'm saying? That's
Dwight
life
actually
right
gets
there.
up every morning and takes his boy to school every single day of the week, 5 days a week. Picks him up from school every day of the week, 5 days a week. And is the most amazing father that I've ever been around. And I'm not saying that
That's
just
high
because
praise.
he's on air too.
You know, Bill,
it's become his life. But before we go to that, Dwight, tell him what it was like from going from outside corner, playing outside corner all through high school, through college, and then your first year in the league, to then them being banged up on the outside because you're the most athletic and throwing you in the slot, and you really become an elite at a slot position until obviously an injury that, you know.
Why you want to
broke
answer
your
this
heart?
question, and when you hate for me to give you the answer to this, when you just love for me
Because
to
the
be outside?
people want to know, Dwight. I know,
what
but
I'm
the
saying?
people want to know.
No, honestly though, man, it was so fun playing in the nickel. Honestly, outside, it was different outside, right? It was honestly to be on that island outside. Honestly, like real shit. Like this for everybody that's watching and listening. On my soul, on that island is different. So y'all be criticizing them guys out there. One mistake, one critical mistake, yeah, it's gone. It's over with. You know what I'm saying? And you're on the sideline in front of a million people with your head down. So to be out there on that island, you got to be a different type of animal. You got to walk different. You got to talk different. You got to swag different. You got to just be different. And I was different. I had fun out there, but when I went to that inside, I just felt comfortable. I felt like I could hit, you know what I'm saying? And I just felt like guys in the slot could not get open. I just felt like they couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? I just felt like I was grimy in there, and I just felt like I was built for it. So, and I had fun. So that was my love. You know what I'm saying? 1-2 to the nickel from the corner.
So great to look back at some of these things, and you really get some insight from a player such as yourself. You know, we can think we know what's going on, but when you watch the game, when you play the game, and you see us criticizing guys on the outside with on an island by themselves, you're like, dude, you go try to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We got a good friend in Keyshawn Nixon, who may be the top 3 slot in the whole league right now for the Packers. Yes. And then we know Amik, who's come here from Las Vegas and be our slot here in Detroit. Yeah, so, a lot of respect. But
Keyshawn Nixon, best nigga in the game.
Yeah.
We talk about this a lot, and I talk about this with Braylon a lot, too. Just if Braylon would have gotten drafted by the New England Patriots that had Tom Brady at quarterback, he'd have had a much different career. You know what I mean? If you go to, not saying you didn't have a great career.
Hold on now.
this man got off. Yeah. Like what?
16 in 1 year.
Who's the best quarterback he ever played with? Mark Sanchez, Derek Anderson,
in college.
Yeah, in college. But what I'm saying is when you go to an organization, Bill, that does what you do great. Like if you play the inside in the nickel your entire career, maybe things work out differently. I think it's more important where you go than when you go. For instance, what franchise you go to is opposed to, you're the number 3 pick. Well, good luck. You're going to Cleveland with no quarterback.
Man,
you feel that way, Dwight?
You can't really. I don't feel that way. I just feel like you gotta
you had more vets when you came into the league.
But that was just the apples I got. That was just the apples I got dealt, man. For real, it's kind of like you can't say that because it's like if you was somewhere else, maybe it wouldn't have panned out for you. Maybe you wouldn't have did the things you did. You get what I'm saying? So you can't really say that. I'm all about believing in what you did. The hands you were dealt, you made it happen, and shit, it is what it is.
Even if we talk about Darius Slay, became one of the best cornerbacks in the whole league. Jim benched him 6, 7, 8 times his rookie year and ripped him off the field to put him back in and became the most elite corner. So besides quarterback and having the brains, cornerback is the toughest position to play in the National Football League, I believe, Bray.
Don't say that, man. Braylon gonna get mad. Don't say that.
No, I'm not going to get mad because at the end of the day, what we do at full speed going ahead, you guys got to do backwards. And you guys got to read the coverage, read us, read the hips, do the things, sink, break, get to the ball. And you got guys like myself can get up there. You guys, you get on the island sometimes when you're still expected to make the plays. So, look, I love my position. I think DB is a little bit harder than wide receiver, but I think they're both very underrated. I would say that, though.
I think you guys made it very hard for undersized guys to be outside at cornerback without being in a certain system. Guys like Jennett, what was his name from Chicago, the cornerback? Tim
Jones?
Jennett. No, Jennett. What's 23? What his name was?
Tim Jennett back in the day. That's why.
Peanut Tillman?
Not Peanut Tillman. The other small guy was on the other side of Peanut Tillman for a little grimy guy.
I don't know.
Little grimy guy.
Jennings or something like that. He was very good.
Jennings.
He was ready. I think it was Jennings, man. He was phenomenal.
Tim Jennings?
Tim Jennings. He was in that cover 2 system. But if he was man to man, I don't know if you could have made all the plays like he played. But in that cover 2 system with Chicago, he was fucking dominant.
You know, as I asked the question and I got your answer, like saying, you know, the apples that you got were the apples that you got, it shouldn't surprise me, knowing who you are a little bit, that you're just going to play the hand that you're dealt and you're going to do it to the best of your ability. Coming to Detroit at a time, didn't have a lot of veterans and the coaching staff and a franchise that was up in arms and not a great culture. To do the best you can with what you got doesn't surprise me.
It was a blessing, man.
Yeah.
And the people I don't take it for granted. I have fun. Shit, you miss it. You cry at night. Goddamn, you know what I'm saying? When you're alone, it crumbles you like a cookie. But shit, at the end of the day, you just gotta.
What about Detroit fans? Detroit Lions fans? Because you were a fan favorite. People loved you.
Really?
Yeah.
For sure?
Yes. For sure.
I like that.
Don't you feel it? Didn't you feel it?
Yeah. You can't, yeah. No,
How'd you love Detroit when you were here, Dwight? You loved Detroit when you were here? This became your second home?
Hell no, man. Detroit was terrible, boy. I ain't finna, no, just bullshit, man. They finna sell me out. They about to be on there being like, what the fuck? Like, you was sorry anyways, motherfucker. You was sorry anyways. Kiss my ass, man. No, but for sure, though, no. Detroit was phenomenal, bro. Like y'all say, no matter if we went freaking 0-6 fucking to winning no games to losing some games, the games are always packed from every stadium, from the Lions Stadium, commercial stadiums, hockey stadium. I done been everywhere. Detroit don't be like that, but everybody else, that shit packed. Always best fans in the house for sure.
It's awesome, man.
For sure.
Going to the game tonight?
Tonight? Yeah, I'm in there for sure.
What do you think of this team?
This year Lions?
Yep.
Oh, them boys like that. Yeah.
You think they have what it takes to win a Super Bowl?
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I think they got what it takes. They got the attitude. They got the good coaches. Them boys be in position. They got them 2 workhorses back there. They got the best O-line in the game. Y'all got Amon-Ra. J-Mo, I like J-Mo. I'm a fan of J-Mo. Hey, J-Mo, send you boy a jersey, man. I'm a fan of you, my boy. Y'all got J-Mo. Y'all got Laporta. He good, too. That tight end.
Oh, man.
He good. The defense good, too, though. The defense coming, though. Them boys gonna come right, man. Them boys, they young, but they coming along. And I like Carlton Davis. He a pretty good DB. I like him.
Think about all these flags that these refs throw on DBs these days.
I can't do nothing about that, man. You ain't finna make me get on here and talk about all that, man. What up? Next question, man. What's up, man?
Yeah, hey,
on, man.
You're not gonna get fined.
I ain't got no.
That's a good thing.
Shit.
That's a good thing. No Roger Goodell over here.
Not gonna get fined.
Dwight, the ups and downs of football, being drafted and living the highs of the highs, performing in your second year, having your best year ever, third year coming in and ready to dominate the league, and then being devastated by a torn ACL, MCL, PCL. Took over a month for you to even have a surgery when you try to have the surgery right away, and all of a sudden your dream's gone forever. Tell the fans a little bit about what it's like to go through that, even though your life has evolved and you're the happiest that I've ever seen you, and spending your days in your business and your child, and developing great things in your life. But the true devastation all these players go through, because at the end of the day, not many retire. The league tells you when they don't want you no more, and then you say, I'm retired. Right. Give us a little bit of the insight of losing your dream that you worked so hard for.
Like I said earlier, it was very like cookie crumble-ish. It was fucking depressed, fucking just lost for real. Like, just didn't understand like what the fuck life was all about after football. Didn't understand like cars running around on Sundays. You know what I'm saying? Life was just different. You know what I'm saying? It was just different to come around people. You had to like try to like get yourself back. You know what I'm saying? Like believe in yourself again. You know what I'm saying? Trying to like put on a certain persona when you ain't got no more. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of like doing things you ain't supposed to be doing, putting yourself in position that you don't supposed to be, trying to like impress people, right? But at the end of the day, you by yourself. When you by yourself, goddamn, just feel like nothing but thunderstorms and like you just by yourself and alone and nobody understand what's really going on but you. But it hurt, man, because you can't do the things that you was able to do. Your dreams get taken away. Nobody really understands it. But nobody really care either, though, right? And you can sit there and talk about it, but you know what I'm saying, the time don't stop moving for nobody.
Bill, would you say that's the probably the biggest thing that professional athletes are unprepared for is when it's over?
Facts. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Shit, man.
There's no plan for it. Like, especially like now. Not to cut you off, Bill. Now there's a better plan for it. I think it's starting in college, NIL. They're teaching you about wealth management. They're teaching you the things. They're teaching you it's not forever. People are more concerned about the health of individuals. So cats are coming into the league and like, shoot, I got 7 years for him, then I'm going to do whatever. I got 8 years for him. Or look at Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald could have did this another 5 years. He said, I did everything I needed in 10. I'm good. I'm out the door. When we came out, like, I've been playing football since I was 6.
Yeah.
You know, then I played middle school, and then you play high school, and then you play college, and then you play in the NFL. There wasn't really time to think about something else. It wasn't time to dial into something else because this was plan A, this was plan B, and this is plan C. Right. So it hurts. It takes a while. Right. Whether it hits you right when it's over or whether it's a delay hit. Sometimes cats are good after they play. Like Jerome Bettis, you know, he retires, he goes off into the sunset and wins the Super Bowl last game. So you ride that high for a year or you ride that high for 2 years, and then you looking at a game and you looking at a DB and you like, man, you can't play like me. Mm-hmm. Or you looking at a receiver and I'm like, I know good way. Like I saw Kenny Golladay get paid. I missed the game all of a sudden. But like there was no plan regardless of you graduated school, et cetera, because this is all I've ever known. This is all I've ever thought about. And this is my identity. Like I didn't know how to separate Braylon from football. I didn't realize there was a separation from Braylon and football until years after. I retired, then I realized football was that vehicle to get Braylon to the next step. I'm still Braylon, so it's a thing, man.
If it went for my family,
same, and God.
And God, like, yeah, I thank God too. But it went for my wife and my child, I'd be fucking.
What about the things that you and Braylon may not speak of that you know in the dark? My head aches all the time. My hip that hurts. My knee when it rains. I can't move how I used to move. I may go through great days and then a depressed day. My head's hurting me. All the things that you guys don't really necessarily talk about because you're grown men, you're leading families, you're trying to, take life and be blessed with what it gives you. But in a lot of ways, whether it's you, whether it's Braylon, whether it's ex-players, what you're going through from all the injuries you've had. I mean, you've had a torn pec, you've had a ripped shoulder, another ripped shoulder. You've had 3 concussions. You've tore your ACL, your MCL, your PCL. Dealing with all that after the fact when it's 5 years later, 10 years later, and you're really dealing with the trauma of what you went through while you were in the league that you guys don't talk about enough because it's not sexy to talk about, I guess. It's, how'd you play? How was the team? How's your teammates? Glad to have you back, da-da-da-da-da. But what about the dark side of the game? Either one of you could answer this question.
I took over last time. You go ahead, Bill.
The dark side of the game. For real, bro, it's kind of like nobody don't really care, though. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, nobody ain't really putting out nothing bad, right? So you ain't really kind of like broadcasting like that. Damn, my shoulder popping out of place, right? Damn, like I got bad headaches. I gotta like close all my doors in my house, and like I gotta like, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to watch TV for a couple of days because it's like the sun and the light is like, you know what I'm saying, bothers me. And you still able to do life, but it's still times where it's like shit killing you dramatically, and nobody cares. Like you ain't got nobody to reach out to. You think they know what's going on in your life. They don't really know what's going on in your life. They assuming. You get what I'm saying? It's like you got to live this shit day to day. You know what I'm saying? So that's my dark side of, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody, they ain't there for you. You know what I'm saying? You there for yourself, going through those times by yourself. And it's 24 hours out of the day. It's 7 days a week. It's 365 days a year. You get what I'm saying? So shit be long. You know what I'm saying? And shit do be dark for you. You know what I'm saying? And it feel like ain't nobody there to help you or understand what you're going through.
It's incredible, man.
Yeah, it is.
What you think, Bray?
Yeah, it is. I signed the dotted line.
Yep.
I signed the dotted line. The people I'm going to complain to is my fellow brothers like Bill that played the game. We understand. I'm complaining to my parents because they understand they've been there from jump.
Yep.
I signed the dotted line. Everything that came with it, I think of the negative side of it. But I think about the Bentley. I think about the R8. I think about the trips to Turks and Caicos and this and the diamonds, the jewels, the women, everything you've been around. That came with it too. So with that said, I signed that dotted line. I'm going to complain to Bill. I'm going to complain to Mom. I complain to the kids. Everybody else, look, y'all accept it for what it is because they're not going to listen anyway.
They're going to judge you, right? They're going to judge you for what they see. You know what I'm saying?
That's what, Bill. But you made money.
Yeah,
that's the first thing.
Exactly. Oh, you living good. Oh, you okay.
Right.
You this and that. Oh, you this and that. Yeah, but that shit don't mean that though. You know what I'm saying? That shit, I still got to go home like you go home. I still take shit off and I still got to lay down like you lay down. And we still gonna sleep for 7 hours the same. You feel what I'm saying?
It's incredible, man. That, like, you know, I covered the league. I covered the teams for a number of years. But I didn't know anybody really on a level like I know Braylon coming to work here every day for 3 years. You know what I mean? You just know when you're around somebody, well, as much as you could without experiencing it, just how hard it is sometimes to get out of bed.
Yeah.
You know, just the mindset of when a player's going through a contract dispute. Well, no, not just sign the contract. No, like there's things. My perspective, basically, it's a long way to get to. My perspective on what you guys go through currently, have gone through, and did go through, is completely changed just because of the knowledge. So many people don't know what you guys go through. We can only imagine. We don't know. We only see the good. We don't see the bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's nice. It's a great education to sit here, and we thank you for sitting here with us.
Same.
And really giving our audience a background and information and knowledge of what some of the things that you guys go through, and to see how successful you are now, that brings joy to a lot of people.
Right.
That brings joy to a lot of people, and I want to thank you so much for sitting here and sharing some time with us, and still cheering for the Lions, and you'll be in the building tonight.
Yes, I will be. 28-24 Lions.
Let's go.
He wants the over.
Right on the number. He wants the over. I was going to say.
Is that the over?
I was going to say.
Lions in the over, baby. Let's go.
I think it's going to be over too.
St. Brown, let's go.
That's great. Bray, get us out of here, my friend.
Yo, we appreciate you for listening to us. This is Woodward Sports Network, the #1 network in the city of
Well,
Detroit.
actually, we should Chad, you get us out of here.
I've never done it before. I can only come up here and just talk and be real. You guys know me. I can only come up here and
Bray,
just
you
be
get us
real.
out of here.
Bray's
Bray,
a professional.
Well, you heard what I said. We appreciate Dave Wyman for coming on, Seattle Radio Analyst, as well as my man Bill Bentley. Shout out to Pahokee. Yo, man, you heard him. 28-24 is what the Lions do. Noah, we appreciate you for filling in. Shout out to the boss man came in.
Let's go.
Chad Johnson, Ryan Ermanni, Pete Spivak. Go Lions.
Lions, baby. Lions, baby.